Okay. Let me grab the link. Oops. YouTube Studio. Okay. Get shareable link. I want to ping it to our group. And okay. Sorry. Yeah. If you want to, it should work now. Hey. Oh, stranger. What's up? Come on in. How you doing? Yeah. There are some folding chairs back there behind Beata if No. Cool. Is streaming good? Different. Delay, yeah, there should be a delay. What were you just seeing? There's movement and stuff, right? Okay, cool. If you guys can share that on Better Together for me, yeah, thanks. Cool. All right. Well, I guess I only have to apologize to Tian because he was the only one really watching, but it's recording now. So, all right. So, let me backtrack really quick. We're going to talk about cloning, face swap, and a number of other things. So I have a couple images that we'll go through, but fast forwarding, I did apply a preset to this. We're going to talk about some cloning here. Lightroom has added 2 new tools. It used to be just clone stamp, which is if you say wanted to clone this person out, you'd have to choose where you want the clone to sample from. And so sometimes things don't really quite line up. And now they actually have the content aware tool. Yeah, so does it pop up? Yeah. So yeah, content aware remove. So it's going to make a decision on where it wants to sample based on what it sees. So you don't have to make a choice. And it does a pretty good job with it too. So we're going to do that. So that's the content aware. And then let's make sure we remove the reflections as well. So if you don't like the selection that it has made or the correction, let me go zoom into that. You can actually hit refresh while you still have the tool selected, and it will kind of start resampling. Like, okay, let me choose something else. Yeah, let me choose something else if you didn't really like this one, you know. So that looks close enough for me, and it's a pretty small part of it. I actually delivered this with the surfer remove. In hindsight, now I think I should have left him. That's kind of cool. Yeah, both with the. Oh, yeah, but I don't know if that person was part of this. They were together. Yeah, like he was like further back, so that's might be foreshadowing something different. So I'll remove this person here. The younger. Yeah, so that's pretty effective. So that's cloning. Let me pull up another example here. Go ahead and apply a preset here. Bring up the exposure a bit. By the way, the image is much better on the way it. Okay. Then on the TV, you mean? Okay. Yeah. Ed on the side here is making unsolicited comments, which has nothing to do with you guys, but thanks, Ed. That's kidding. So I'm using the content aware tool again. This zooms in quite a bit, so let me make it not zoom so much. It's on the R6, correct. Cool. So when it gets things like that are a little bit closer, I don't know if you guys have noticed that when you tried cloning or healing into an edge of something that you want to keep, it starts to kind of blur it out. That's kind of when I go into Photoshop and I'll mask it separately. That's the only way I know how to do it. I don't know if there's a better way, but let's say, for example, let's say this person is really close here and I want to clone this guy out, and I keep hitting this person's leg, the groom's leg. And so actually content where, not sure what it did. I didn't really quite remove him either, but let's say I made a bigger selection. Yeah, you see his legs gets kind of cut off. It doesn't really know that the leg should continue. So this might be a little bit old school, but when I do go into Photoshop, edit in Photoshop to make a finer selection on my masking or my selection, that's the only way I know how to do it. Unless you guys have anything else you can share, but let me show you really quick. Yes, but if the object I'm trying to remove intersects with the object I'm trying to keep, that's where I kind of have a problem with it. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, you're kind of recreating the pant leg down anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So if it's available and the data is there for you to do it, then that works. So definitely do that, especially with the traditional Lightroom stamp tool, because to be honest, I don't often like going into Photoshop because I just rather keep it, especially when we're shooting weddings, we're editing like thousands of photos, right? Yeah, you can just manually mask it as well, and then I'll use something like the. I'm gonna go. Oh, my toolbars have changed. Okay. And then I'll just do something like I'll sample this and then paint that back in without worrying about hitting his leg, right? Yeah, as opposed to like, okay, let me without the selection, let's say I sample this and then I'm like, okay, let me come in. Okay, I'm getting closer. Okay, so let me make sure I don't hit his leg. Yeah, so instead we'll just use I find the line tool to be the easiest. You can do it freehand, but the line tool, you can, the more points you make, the finer it gets. But I'll just do that a couple times. This doesn't really matter. I just need to make sure I cover that. Right. I'll sample this. Right. So the coloration looks weird. Yeah. I gave up on it because I couldn't learn it well enough, but yeah. Yeah, there's two kind of tools. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the line tool. I see. Yeah. But for those of you who don't know, what I did was I right clicked in Lightroom, went to edit in Adobe Photoshop. It opened up Photoshop. So right now it is a TIFF file that's unsaved. Once I save it, I can do Command S or Control S as a hotkey. You'll see it work on top right here. I'm pointing at my monitor, like you guys can see what I'm pointing at. Once it finishes saving, it adds it to the library in Lightroom. So we'll have the unedited version here, which I'll flag as rejected, and then my new version is here. I think it added my presets. Yeah. What's up? I keep everything for now. But yeah, Emily's question was, after I deliver the gallery, do I keep the TIFF files? And then to extend that question, how many of us keep the RAWs of all of them versus the RAWs of just the ones we selected? I know. I keep everything right now just because storage is getting cheaper. There have been some rare instances where people have asked. I mean, it's in our contract. We don't have to go back and find pictures that they're missing, but to each their own. But I do keep all the RAWs for now. Yes.
As a photographer, I'm probably less experienced than everybody here, but in storage, worked in the storage industry for a dozen years or more. So I'm happy to have a follow-up to talk about the nerdiness of storage and how to manage it and backup. And I give presentations to photo clubs on that topic.
Oh, awesome.
But I worked for Seagate and Maxtor and on the consumer side, and I nerd out on some of the different storage techs. Anyway, because that is a big question.
Oh, yeah, no.
I've got 12 terabytes and hard drives are damn slow compared to, anyway. So I'm definitely up for some month giving a little talk about how to effectively manage storage and keep yourself running fast.
Yeah. No, yeah, let's make that a whole meeting, and then you can name drop. Yeah. Well, no. This is I think people would be interested. Yeah. And then you can name drop the companies, and we'll tag them, and hopefully we'll get sponsored, and I don't know, get some free stuff. So, but yeah, so that's cloning in a nutshell for me. There is also a tool I didn't mention, which is the healing tool. I think that's a little bit more for smaller fixes, like skin blemishes and whatnot. I don't entirely know the difference between healing and content aware. I think healing looks more at general textures, whereas content aware will use more processing power to actually, okay, this is a horizon. These are plants, and actually identify things in there. Whereas healing will just find the nearest, group of textures. For example, if there's like a blemish on the skin, remove it, it's going to find texture somewhere else there. Some powerful tools that used to only be in Photoshop are now in Lightroom. So it helps quite a bit. Cool. Visualize spots. Is that like turn on where I've masked or no? No. Bottom left, visualize spots. If I go to where? Oh my gosh, you called me out. What if I did?
And you can slide the slider. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So when I find them, then I don't use cloning. Cloning will copy the subtle shade. I use healing when I'm getting rid of dust spots in the sky.
Oh. Okay.
Hold on. Today.
Hold on. I turned the mic on. Can you say that again really quick?
Okay.
So we click the button on the bottom left to turn on visualize spots.
Right. So visualize spots will use this edge filter to highlight anything that has a distinct edge between it and the background. And typically a dust spot will be a subtle spot. Depends on the f-stop. No, F22, you'll probably see it sharper. And it's going to be a tiny spot. But when you visualize spots, it turns into a circle. And so you can look in the sky, typically the soft or smooth areas, you'll see it stand out. And then you can use the healing tool to just go a little bit bigger than the spot and get from somewhere else. But as I said, I don't like to use cloning. Cloning will take the color of the sky where it clones from. And if the sky is a transition, it now makes it stand out because of the color. And healing does a better job of getting rid of dust.
I see. Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. I didn't realize there was a thing there.
Yeah.
Cool.
In the bottom right, you'll see those white stones on the bottom right.
Uh huh.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm on healing tool,
Right.
and then
That's it. Just click.
I'll
I try
click.
and make them exactly the size.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
And now that little rock is gone. But if that was a dust spot, it would
Right,
be gone.
right. Nice.
Cool.
Cool. Awesome.
Healing is better than cloning because of what?
So cloning in the sky, you see that it goes from pale blue to darker blue.
Yeah.
If you clone, the place where it gets the clone from will have that particular color, and now it looks like a colored spot.
Oh, I
Because
see.
you've brought dark blue into a light blue
It'll
area.
look like a patch.
Yeah, but the healing tool does
No blend
better than
this.
cloning.
I think you described frequency separation in Photoshop, basically. You remember frequency separation?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what he's saying is by visualizing spots, we're looking at texture absent of color, which is what frequency separation is. That's a different topic. I think frequency separation might be outdated now, but anyways. Cool. Wow, nice. All right. So let's go on to the next folder. What I have here, we're going to demonstrate face swap. I do it the lazy way because I go through these a lot, but basically, let's say we have this image here and let me look at this guy. So let's say this guy is blinking, right? And but everyone else looks good. And let's say, for example, that in this image where everyone is looking, let's say, for example, in this scenario, that the groom is blinking now. So how do we get an image where we have everyone opening their eyes by merging images? I mean, typically I would take like 20 photos with a group size this large, so I don't have to do face swaps. But eventually, we'll get into a situation where we won't have one perfect picture. So what I'm going to do is actually take both images, edit them in Photoshop. Before I get in there, is there a way to do this in Lightroom? Anyone know? Okay, good. Let's make this a little bit. Let me make this a little bit more obvious here. Let's say the groom here is blinking. So I'm just gonna actually do so let's say that's a bad image, right? Just so we're not confused here. All right. And okay. Oops. Go to edit in Photoshop. All right. So yeah. So yeah. So let's say sorry about that. Let's say I do want to keep this image because everyone but the groom has their eyes open. And then this is the only image where the groom has his eyes open, but this groomsman unfortunately has his eyes closed. So basically I want to move his face onto this image. The quick and easy way, because these are the same size in terms of cropping and whatnot, it's not zoomed in any further or anything like that. I can simply do a stamp tool. I'm going to sample the good eye. I'm going to choose some spot that I can start. That's a little bit easier for me. So I'll start maybe right in the middle of his eye. And then I'll go into the bad image. And then you can do clone stamping across images. So I'll kind of line. So I'm using my brackets to make the brush small and bigger. So this is my brush size right now. Just so I can get everything kind of lined up. Let's say maybe right around there. And I'll bring my brush size back down and then just start kind of painting that in. Now I'm using a mouse right now. just give me complete his shoulders a little bit. I'm using my mouse right now. So right now the opacity and flow are 100%. Instead of doing that, I actually use a tablet. See on camera, you guys can see. It's a drawing pad, and the main thing with the drawing pad is the pen can detect pressure, which will increase the intensity or decrease the intensity of the opacity and flow. So by using that, let me change my brush size to have a very soft edge. Instead of like being it completely on, I can kind of slowly like brush it in and just get around his neck here. I know that his neck gets kind of wonky over here, so I'm just gonna maybe hide that there, and something like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore the fact that this looks actually, yeah, I can do it right there. There we go. So that's basically how I do it quickly. Yep. Yeah, so I'm using a stamp tool here. And then when you hold Option, to sample where I want to start. Let's say sample. Let's have some fun with this.
And then you switched.
Right, and then I went to the other image, so it's sampling from another image on a complete separate file. Yeah. Right, so I want to bring. Yes. So, yeah, this is a quick and dirty way. So let's say let's restart this actually. And you guys might be better at doing this, but this is let's say this image was actually kind of cropped in already. So you'll see what happens when we actually open both of them. Yeah. Yeah, so the crop is different now. So the pixels are different. So by sampling his eyes or his face over to this side now, you'll see quite a size difference. Oh, did it not? Well, you know what? The pixel count didn't change. It's just the overall image size. Okay, let's just say, for example, this was much bigger. So what I would actually do is maybe I would copy a section of this, paste it onto here, Command T to kind of resize. So I want to size it up so it's about the same size here. Let's say originally the image was like that, and I want to resize it. So I bring down the opacity so I can kind of see behind it a little bit. So let's say it's something around there. Let me zoom in a bit. The top layer and exclusion blending mode. Oh. This layer. Exclusion. Let me turn up the opacity. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Awesome, yeah. So I'm looking at his ears. I'm lining his ears up, basically. Cool. Yep. So bringing it back to normal. So from here, I like to put on a mask. Basically, this is a little bit more to explain, we can get into that later, but this allows me to remove parts of it that I don't need. Like the edges here might be kind of not lined up perfectly. So I can use my brush tool and basically paint the areas that I want excluded black. How big is my brush? How come I can't see it? Am I doing this wrong? My mask. Oh, there you go. So basically, I'm feathering out the edges that, because so we can see here there's a harsh line because this is another image on top of this. So I can kind of slowly blend that out. Basically, what I'm doing is, how do we view the mask? Oh, like that. So basically, as I paint the edges black on the mask, it's showing through the bottom layer. So if I turn the bottom layer back on, that's kind of what helps me blend it together. If I do it over his face, then we bring the original image back in. Right. And painting it white will, painting the mask white will reveal or show the top layer again. Masking is a little bit interesting to explain, so we can do that next time. But now you know that's possible. So if I save that, it should save as another file here. And here it is. Yes. All right. So what John's saying, instead of editing two separate images, we can go and do edit. Cool. Oh, okay. Open as layers. Okay. Got it. So it's going to be one image, but two layers here. Yep. Yeah. Assuming it's lined up too, right? All right. It's going to be a huge file. Yeah. Yeah. So what John was saying was, because we're working in Photoshop, we have several layers. I mean, if you want to go back and edit it, we could just keep it. But one practice is to flatten the image so that you don't have all that data. Flatten image or merge all the layers. So it's just one layer now, and then you can save it back into Lightroom. Cool, nice. Yeah, let me close all those out. All right. This next section, pretty simple stuff. I use a lot of gradients and radial gradients. I like to kind of keep the focus in the center sometimes. So basically creating like almost like a vignette, but I kind of like doing it manually. So in this image, right. Yeah. So I like doing, I like bringing my exposure down and then using the radial mask to bring my subjects out. Some people do it the other way where they'll bring exposure up and then darken the edges. Yeah, I don't know why I do it this way, but I do want to keep people here, but I think they're too evenly lit compared to the bride. So if I bring it down and then go up to the top right, where this masking tool is, and then choose radial gradient, you can kind of see my selection. I can move that anywhere. The inner circle is, I believe, is 100%. effect, and then it feathers out. So the bigger the edge, the more feathered your effect will be. And I'll give you a like extreme example of this. So this is a very small feather, and if I start changing things like exposure, you can see like a harsh edge around it. If I increase the distance between these two, we'll see there's a bit more of a feather, right? So I could probably do something like that, just that there's a bit more focus on the bride. I think I have another example to show the other masking tools, but that's how I kind of use radial. For linear gradient, yeah.
So when you have your radial gradient, I often want to make it really big, so it's really affecting the corners mostly. But when I do that, if I want to make it taller, I have to click on the middle, drag it up so I can see the handles, stretch the handles and drag it back down. Is there any way to avoid that?
I do the same thing. Yeah, so basically what you're saying is if I want to make it like at the very edges, yeah, I kind of do the same thing. I'll just keep dragging it, and then I'll recenter it. I don't know how else to fix that. Well, I mean, like if I want this kind of over here instead, right? Yeah. Ooh. Alt or Shift or Command? No, Alt, Shift. Hold on. Let me bring it back in. Oops. Right, so what do you want me to click? Hold Shift and then drag. No. Alt. Do I have an Alt? Is it Option? Command. Control. Nope. Okay. Yeah, when in doubt, just try Shift, Alt, Command, everything, and it there's bound to do something different. Yeah. Cool. On this image, I wanted to demonstrate quickly how I use linear gradient. This is my 1-year-old son. This is my sister-in-law's boyfriend, and so no commentary on cuteness or anything. Okay. Thanks. There's a side window that's lighting them right here. And so it's very bright on this side. So I use a linear gradient. So you can see my mask here. Again, let me start over. So what I did was selected the linear gradient and clicked and drag. So the further I make the lines apart, the more feathered it will be. I can show you an extreme example again here. So let's say it's something like that. And if I adjust exposure or anything else, you can kind of see how defined that is. And then, so I kind of want to make it, basically I want to bring the right side exposure down just a bit because it is heavily right lit. So I can do something like that. And then maybe bring this side up just a little bit. And then we'll throw in radio as well. Something like that. Let me create virtual copy and reset the other one. Yeah. I mean, you can do it in one go, but I like using combination just because I kind of build on top of it as I do it. It probably consumes more data in the catalog, but probably not much. Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, this was in our family home, and I was not about to bring out a reflector and all that. It took a while for him just to be able to stand next to him like that. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Change the entire background.
Cool. Any questions about gradients? Did I didn't miss anything? Yeah.
So, so you showed for radial and was it linear
Yeah.
for darkening lightning? Has anybody started to use it to do things like? I start to use it as like a center punch of warmth, where you're changing tint, or you're making so you can make the center warmer, or to desaturate the outside a bit, or to take or start things like pulling focus or sharpness, or using these other sliders, because it's all tools of where to force the to guide the eye toward whatever the the subject is.
I've used it for white balance in situations like that. If there was like an indoor light on one side and a window light on the other, I use the gradient tool for the kind of try and balance the white balance.
I've done that. Or if I'm like shooting out, like once I was in this big event hall and there was windows and it was super dark out, but the inside lights were really warm, so I like tried to balance them for like one of them because I was really bothered by it, but it was a lot of work. But yeah, that time I just used the brush to even out like the window.
I think this actually might be a good example here. There is a bit of cooler light on this on the right side here, so yeah, I can use the radial or linear gradient tool and warm it up on this side, for example. Change exposure, tint, all sorts of things.
I just started adding that in my edit suite to use
Quick question.
a punch of warmth in the center.
Out of 100 images, let's say you have 100 images, how much time would you spend on those 100?
Definitely.
Out of 100 images, how many times would I spend?
How much time would you spend, like, to allocate?
Well, I spend a lot of time on portraits. Images like this, I probably wouldn't have done that. If I was posting it on social media or getting printed, then yeah, I would make those changes. But I don't know. I never really timed myself, but I wouldn't spend that much time on this. This would be like one of like 50 images of them dancing in this particular scene. So I'm not gonna be able to do those minor adjustments on each of those. But for portraits, I would.
I have a question. Do you turn on lens correction?
I think it's already on all the presets I turn on. Where's that?
It's up.
A little bit higher. Lens correction.
Up. One more panel, I think. Oh, above sharpening, maybe.
Above
There it is. Way down. Sorry.
Yeah, where it says lens corrections, profile or
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Is that either
Manual.
or it's kind of
I've
both?
literally never seen the manual tab.
But basically,
I've stopped using that because if you unclick I think the first one.
Wait, just turn it off completely.
No, just click it, but unclick the first of
This
that.
one?
Remove those two.
Chromatic aberration.
Well, chromatic, I don't think you're gonna see that in here.
Try the second
Enable.
one.
That's just the one you're talking about.
Yeah, so I actually have started liking the vignette better.
Yeah.
So I've turned it off because I find myself creating a vignette on
Totally
Well,
agree.
but-
Certain lenses are way better with the profile correction off.
Yeah.
But some of them that are, especially ones that are lower quality, it's better to put
Yeah,
it
yeah.
on. Or if you're doing something like architecture where you don't want a vignette, but for stuff like this, a lot of times things off. But try it all with all your different lenses and see what you.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about this and just
Yeah, so like the radio filter that you created did the same thing that your
Well,
lens was already doing.
Yeah, but you get to
You get to tweak it,
dial in
but
whether you want it to be
Yeah.
0.1 or 0.2.
I found
or
myself
0.3.
doing radio filters a lot. And I was like,
Yeah.
I could just unclick this so that I won't need the rest of it.
So question about that, when you are syncing it, let's say you edit one picture and you wanna sync the settings, this does not sync for me? That checkbox, is this something I I'm doing wrong?
I think it should. So
Like everything else sings, but this one is always unchecked in everything else.
Where are your
lens
choices?
correction.
Oh,
Enable profile.
Okay.
So yeah.
So when you turn it off,
Yeah.
are you screwing up your chromatic aberration?
Well,
That's pretty
it's a
important.
Well, no, because
It's
you can
separate. I mean, is it-
turn off only one of them.
Yeah.
So that's what he was doing, where you can.
Yeah.
There's those two checkboxes.
But are you getting any other lens correction besides vignetting? I mean, you're correcting like barrel distortion, and which may not, unless it's architectural, it may not be
Yeah, I
that
really don't
relevant.
I think it's just these two right here.
About it. Like,
Distortion and vignetting.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I really notice the chromatic aberration is if I'm like shooting against a super bright sky. You get the like purple outlines.
Edge, right?
But there's a slider for that too, right under
Yeah.
defringe.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a manual.
If you want to start tweaking
Yeah.
that.
Oh my god.
And it's like specifically
Looks
purple
like-
because
Right here.
chromatic aberration is
Or no.
purple
Do you ever
usually.
use the manual setting here?
Just for distortion.
Oh yeah.
That's actually another thing I was going to talk about. I do distortion correction quite a bit sometimes. Let's say I don't like the way her face is stretched here. This is on a 15 millimeter lens. So I do bring it back just a bit just to square out their faces sometimes.
Shoot.
It's a personal preference. Some people like the distortion because it kind of gives it more excitement.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, I do like to do
But-
that if I have like a really wide group shot, and I've used like the 16 to fit them all in. I'll use the
Yeah,
manual
for
to, like,
sure. Yeah.
undistort them a little bit.
I didn't even know. Oh my gosh, all these panels I didn't know were an option.
Had a lot of like.
I mean, sometimes you just got to scroll down and just mess around with sliders and see what happens.
Yeah.
Cool. Guide tool. So this is specifically for straightening. If you guys know this venue, this is Saratoga Springs. A lot of people do portraits on this bridge. This image is straight up and down, like it's not tilted. The bridge is slanted down. You can tell by the trees are straight up and down. Yeah. Now, if this is annoying, which it is sometimes for me, you can correct this. You can't. This bridge. No, I think this bridge is always here. Really? Yeah. Oh no, it's to hide any sounds you might be making in the bathroom.
Just leave it.
Like if you're if you're practicing your natural tone in the bathroom. Oh wait, was it talking?
Well, there was a commercial or an ad.
Oh okay, yeah. So I don't have paid subscription to music, so it's supposed to be just jazz. I don't think it's picking up. Hopefully not. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, if you want to straighten out the bridge, like sometimes people could try to rotate it, but then now you can tell that the groom is leaning forward and the trees are slanted. So use a guide tool. Scroll down here to. Sorry, I'm a bit slower at looking for things at this on this. Oh, here we go. So when we hit guided, it automatically picks up this this tool right here. So basically what you're going to do is you're drawing lines that should be vertical and horizontal. That should be 90 degrees or 180 degrees or 0 degrees across. So let's say I want this bridge to be 0 degrees. And I know that these trees should be 90 degrees. So I'll draw 2 lines and it kind of corrects it for you that way. This is particularly important when you're shooting things like architecture here. Let's use this as an example. When I shot this, I lined up this line right here on the floor. That was my reference point. But because we're using a wider angle lens, and if you don't have this background pointed directly in front of you or perpendicular, you'll see like the lines kind of slanted and leading in different directions. Yeah, my 2 years ago. So I know I want this to be straight. I also want from this point here to this point here should be a straight line. Oh, you want to mess with it? By the way, who is on the stream right now? Okay, just change it then. I'm like, I gotta keep it going. You know, my viewers are waiting. Forget it. Oh, auto straightening? I don't know. Yeah, let's try that in a bit. Let's see how it works. Also, I want to take this point right here. You can't see it, huh? Oh. Oh, there we go. Yeah, the shadows are dark, but whatever. Isn't there like a color match setting? I don't know. Yeah, I don't use auto. I don't know. I don't even know how to activate auto. Oh, is it like where? Here? Oh, here? Oh.
It's all blocked.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah, auto's pretty good actually.
I never tried.
Yeah. Auto did a perfect job. Yeah. So yeah, use auto.
Or sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Auto seems to be pretty good too. I wonder how auto works on here. It kind of stops doing anything, I think, after like 3 or 4. Yeah. So let's say, oh, whoops, I'm on crop. The question was, can you put an unlimited number of guidelines in there? And in my experience, it kind of stops after. It kind of stops after like 3, I think. It's not even. Oh, okay. I guess it's yeah. I remember we did something earlier last time and it worked out well. Brightness down, contrast up. Huh? No, contrast isn't the same way you think it is on TVs. Yeah, sometimes it acts like brightness for some reason. Okay, bring that up to like maybe 60 and then just drop brightness down. But then our shadows are. All right, our homework is find TVs that are color calibrated. Oh, what has it done? Oh, interesting. It changed like the vertical ness as well too. I was just trying auto, yeah, to see how that works. I mean, this seems pretty easy, pretty straightforward. Yeah. Oh no, wait, did I do auto? I don't remember what I did. Oh, it's guided. cool.
Yeah. Scroll down on the right.
Oh, scroll down on the. If I went like too far like that. Oh, I see. Yeah, Auto decided to do something. Yeah, I think it kind of felt like it knew I was lower than the subject, and then Auto kind of brought me to eye level. So it almost looks like I'm standing further away.
It's going to try and correct that.
And higher up.
Perspective line.
Yeah.
So it's going to try and widen it at the top.
There you go. Auto. Got it. All right. Something else I want to demo here was obviously we want Tien and the light stand out. And so we could take another image without the light stand. But oftentimes, especially in City Hall, there are just maybe people moving around and things are in the way. And if there's symmetry, this is how I do City Hall. I basically mirror the right side over. Yeah. So best practice, create another layer so you don't mess up this one. But basically I'm taking it up to here. I'm going to copy it, paste it. So now it's a new layer. Command T or right click and go to transform. I'm going to flip horizontally. I'm going to take this guy and drop it somewhere. How do I keep it from control? I'm holding control to keep it from clipping to the edges because Scott, what was exclusion? Yeah, exclusion. Yeah. I'm still having a hard time seeing. But so, yeah, so I'm gonna try to line. Actually, I just want to line up. I guess the lights. Actually, the stairs, maybe. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. So let's say something like that, right? Go back to normal. Now, obviously, there's like a line here, and we're cutting off the groom and whatnot. This is where I kind of get in and turn on a mask. So basically, it's another layer on top of this, so I can tell it how much to show and what not to show. Again, use my paintbrush. I'm using the. It's cool. We won't know. We'll hide it. So I'll kind of paint the mask black here, just to kind of remove the lines. Go back to paintbrush. Yeah, it's not perfect aligned, but let's pretend it is. You know what? Something I also do is while I'm in transform mode, I kind of warp it just to maybe move things into place if they don't line up perfectly. Just ever so slightly. This seems pretty good. That seems pretty good. This is a little bit. Oh no, that's good. That's pretty good. Yep, and then any harsh lines, we can go back into our mask, paint that black, and so let's reveal his arm again. So I'm painting black to bring him back. Just one thing to note with City Hall, these two emblems here are actually different. But that's the kind of the quick and dirty way I do that. Yes, and then I forgot about it. Okay, what do I do? Okay. What layers am I blending? Okay. Should I remove take the mask off? So I have this now. So select the middle image. But they're both they're the same. This is the corrected image here. Yeah, you can basically ignore this, but it's just this and this. Where is it? Edit. I was gonna just. Oh, so I do this a lot too. I don't know where things are. I just go. I just search for it. Oh, so we auto align. Okay, so we go to auto align first. Is it auto aligning?
No, it did not work. Terrible.
I think it tried it best. So like the lamp on the bottom left lined up pretty well, but then the rest of it was like, I can't do it. Yeah. Auto blend. Hold on. I just started undoing a bunch of things. Okay, so there's these two things. Edit. Auto blend. Stack. Sick. All right, I think that's a keeper. Yeah, instead of like blending two separate halves, or I think it's kind of like an HDR is what it was trying to do. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's how I do it. Here, cool. All right, next section. Object select. Okay, this is kind of cool. Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, they're all wearing white, so it's a little bit this is the backdrop, yeah. This is a real tree. So object select is one of the masking tools. I'm kind of jumping around here. I wanted to do subject select first, but basically you can, so we go into our masking objects, and by kind of roughly painting over an area that you want, it will mask an object for you. So I want this tree, I want to mask this tree so I can change its exposure, temperature, colors, hue and whatnot, just to match this tree a bit more. So by doing this kind of a rough outline, it should mask the tree. Yeah, I'm like mask the tree. Yeah. You can watch the stream later if you'd like to. So in masking objects, and then just kind of. So, and then from here I can, let's maybe turn down. I'm sorry, like it better than Photoshop? I mean, this is, yeah.
The Lightroom stuff was inferior.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cool thing with this is that I can actually copy these settings. Let me get out of the masking tool. So I made my change here. You can see the tree looks a little bit closer to this one. So I'm going to copy my settings. So I can copy the mask. So this is not the selection itself, but the AI selection. So it's going to find that general area again and recreate it. So if we sync it here, yeah, it recalculates. So we'll synchronize that. You can see it updating AI settings. So basically what it's doing is not selecting the pixels, correct. It's determining what the object is in each image again, assuming they're relatively close to each other. So if we go in here, here's our mask. Right here, here's our mask again.
Oh, that was selected the present.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Silly AI. Yeah. 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 So something I do for a lot of my images is maybe bring exposure up for, actually, that might be a different, yeah. Let me go to a different folder for that. Subject select. Oh, don't worry. I'll edit it. Again, going into masking tool, we can select subject. And by subject, I think it means people. I don't know how it does with pets, but we're editing or we're changing our monitor settings. Yeah. By clicking subject, it will auto mask the people in it. Not a perfect job here. This might be a terrible example, actually. Let's try. Let's go back to the. Let's try this one. So I'm going to go. Oh, let's use this image. Subject select. Yeah, with larger groups, it does kind of blend in between, but gives you a pretty good selection to kind of play with exposure and whatnot. So in doing this, we can actually, again, sync the mask itself. And it will basically, it will do a subject selection for each image individually. And then apply, in this case, plus 0.47 exposure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wasn't even going to get into that, but because I don't use it too much. But basically, yes, you can go in, do a. This might be too many people, but let's say we do select people. It will detect individual faces here, and it will create a separate mask for each person. So let's say I select this person. I can choose, okay, instead of the entire person, I just want to select, let's zoom in. I can just select, let's say, oh, did I mess it up already? Did I just, let's do it again. So let's say her. Okay. So we can select her face, her body, skin only, her eyebrows, or her face and her skin, iris and pupil. So a lot of people like to do things like, yeah, let's say let's say her teeth are too yellow and we want her eyes brighter. We'll select these two, create mask. Well, I shouldn't group them together, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then change like an exposure or whatnot. And then you can, I think you should be able to, here, let's exaggerate it. And then I should be able to sync that to this image too, right? Select all the masks. Let's see if it selected just that person and changed her pupils and lips. Yeah, I know. Yep. There it is. There's her again, and then her again. Yep. And two masks, or one mask, two selections here. A what? A tattoo? No. Because, well, I guess it. Yeah, but how does that tie to, like, how does it know where to place it? Right. Yeah. That's a good question, though. That'd be, yeah. Cool. Let's see. Where are we now? Content aware. Pretty powerful in, I don't know how it works in Lightroom, but I go into a lot of studios will shoot with you'll see stuff in the background. As long as the background's simple enough, content aware in Photoshop should do pretty well. I don't know how it does in Lightroom, actually. I don't think it works too well, right? Yeah, so if I content aware this section here, will it know to sample just this? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So within Photoshop, in Photoshop, usually I'll just do something like, actually let me create a separate layer, best practice. I can do this. Actually, I'm going to get a little closer. So I have my two selections here, and then what was it? Is it content aware fill? It's kind of gave you an example, a sample of, or it's showing you where it's sampling from. If you don't like the results, you can kind of, okay, maybe it's including the dog or something too much. So we can actually remove, like, don't sample the people, don't sample the couch. For the most part, just sample this area here. And then let's do current layer. This, we bounced it off into the corner of our, that's in here, in that warehouse. So I literally just bounced it off to the corner. Yeah. Otherwise we have a 7-foot softbox. Yeah. And I can make minor corrections. If I didn't really like I can kind of see a line here. A little bit harder to see on this monitor. I'm using the patch tool. It's kind of like a stamp tool, but like I'll select, like let's say I want to, if I select that, I can move this to a different area, and it kind of blends it together a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Ooh, let me see if I can show you guys how I do. So we see a lot of textures in the backdrop. We hung it on the wall for too long, and so it kind of warped. I'm not quite prepared to present this, but let me see if I can remember. Basically use a Gaussian blur technique. Yes. Oh, really? Oh. Yeah. I did save a set of actions to do this Gaussian blur technique. I don't layer, copy, 1, 2, 3. let's let me just run it really quick. I'm gonna actually delete this. Just for the sake of this demo, I'm gonna just crop this in actually. I don't know if you can see it on the TV, but the background is kind of bumpy. And so one way I smooth it out is I do have an action that I recorded a while ago. I called it smooth background. So these are all the steps here. So basically, let me just run it really quick. So basically what it did was it took this image, it selected the subject, it content awared them out, blurred it with a Gaussian blur, and then created a mask on top of it. So basically I'm going to paint them back in with my pen, or remove this layer just to bring them back in, kind of like that. I saw this on YouTube, and so I think he still does it. Yeah. Like the guy was like, he had a unibrow and he cut it, right? He cut it recently. Yeah. I was like, wait, is that him? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
One of the big shows.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love him. He's awesome. Yeah, I love him. Yeah. 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 Yeah, that's basically how I do it. Can you see the difference here? Before, after. It's easy. You can, yeah. After, before. You might be able to see it better. A bit of the bird back, and then I brought them back. So the reason for doing that is because the edge selection, if we selected their edges and then blurred it later or cloned it or whatever, it's not a really good like the edges aren't really defined, or it's not really accurate. In doing this, we're kind of cheating a bit. Basically the edge here is kind of blended in, but it is some of the old background, but most of the background is the blurred background. If we turn on the mask, you can kind of see it's not perfect, but that's the idea, is so that I don't have to go in and be like absolutely precise against his ears and whatnot. I can get away. I can cheat it a little bit. Only works with solid backgrounds. So yeah.
I like the black. I like that you went with the black.
A little more modern, right? Yeah. Thanks. Cool. Subject, like we already went through that. So I downloaded you guys heard of Topaz, the software suite? Yeah. I downloaded the AI sharpening tool because I shot this. What did I shoot this at? F3.2. The dog was way in front of me, so dog was out of focus. And this is the image that they chose. She's in focus, dog is not. So it's basically a plugin. How did I do it? I think I went to. Can I do it straight from Lightroom?
No.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I have the plugin in Photoshop as well, but. Oh, really? Okay. Well, I think this is just one of the many softwares they have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna put my password in right now. Yeah, let's do trial. But yeah, so this is before, this is after.
That's so crazy.
The one reason I use it in Photoshop though, because can I mask it? I can't do it in here, right? Yeah. So let me close without saving. If I edit this in Photoshop first, and then go, I think it's filter, Topaz Labs, AI sharpen. Is it going to create a new layer or overwrite the existing one? Okay, I can choose it from here. Top left. Which one? Wait, what are you talking about? Uh-huh. Oh, you're talking about the sharpening or? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to create layer from here. So I think what I've been doing is I just create the layer in Photoshop. Yeah, so let me cancel, close without saving. So I'll create a layer here. I'm gonna invoke sharpen AI. Okay. Save with watermark. I did buy it, by the way. I don't know why I'm not logged in. So I don't know. We have commercials playing in my music, and I was like, okay, I didn't buy that, so sorry. A little cheap, guys. Okay. And then let's say the sharpening was like it was too much on her. That's kind of distracting with the should be able to log in. I did. I just not logged in. But from here I can create a mask. I'm going to invert the mask, and then just paint back in the areas I want to show with white. So just the eyes, There's the watermark, so ignore that for now. Something like that. All right. Yeah. Here we can look at this detail here. Before, after. Yeah. It uses AI to make pixels. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that well, not everything, a lot of things. All right, next. Yeah. Was there anything during that process that was like, oh, you guys do it differently? Because I didn't really have anyone I was following or being mentored by, so I just kind of do it based on YouTube and trial and error. But
images, it either uses an Adobe profile, but you can get it to use the camera settings itself. And in my current camera the noise is terrible if I use Adobe, but if I set it back to the camera, I don't see it anymore. So it uses the camera's own interpretations to do a better job before you even get to the sliders.
So
on import?
Go back, go back to one of your raw files instead of that TIFF,
Okay.
and then their profile Adobe Color.
Yeah.
And
Browse.
browse, and then find your camera.
Oh, find my camera?
Camera matching.
Yeah, camera match.
What?
Maybe.
Yeah, and this is going to change your life.
do standard.
So much better. Let's do standard.
Standard? Where's standard?
And down.
These are the profiles
Standard
in your
V2?
camera itself.
That's what Canon
That's usually how you
created
capture
for
it.
the camera instead of using what Adobe created.
Oh my god, wait, I ran into this issue today. Whenever I tether to my computer, Adobe, like, it applies something in Lightroom, and I'm like, how do I stop this from happening?
There's
just a
a
different
tether
render.
setting for apply on.
For color profiles?
Oh, it shouldn't. No, I mean, just when you tether, I think it gives the option to apply something on import.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have this issue where if
When you start tether.
Yeah.
if I compare an image, like today, I was in the studio shooting on Seamless. I tethered for some and I didn't tether. The tethered images do not look something is different, and it really pisses me off. I can't figure out what's different.
I don't really understand profiles.
Yeah, look for when you start tether,
Okay.
see whether it's applying
Okay,
a lens correction.
I'm not applying
or,
anything. Okay, I'm gonna have to investigate this, but it was driving me bonkers.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to switch cameras. Oh, it's on.
Apologize.
Now it's on
I
us.
have
Yes.
a live customer wants to buy a package, so gotta respond.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody has a chance to explain profiles to
It's
me.
like the way that the software interprets the color coming from the raw file. You interpret it in different ways. And in general, the way that the camera manufacturer tells the software to interpret is better than what
okay.
Adobe came up with, some generic thing that can apply to everything.
So as an example, when you put your raw files, you import them into the catalog and you look in the library, and then you click on the develop module, you'll see the image change. And sometimes it gets a lot worse. And that's because the image that you're seeing in the library preview is the JPEG that comes out of the raw. So it uses all the camera settings for dynamic contrast and picture color and those kinds of things. So it's created a JPEG. But once you're in your develop module, it discards that, recreates using Adobe's settings, and they're quite different to Nikon or Canon. That's why you see the change. And sometimes it gets bad. So you can set in the edit preferences, you can set it to use the camera settings on input. So now it's not going, it might still show you the JPEG preview, but when you go into the develop, it will use the camera settings.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly what was happening earlier today, and I couldn't. It made me so mad.
And you can edit the same thing under camera calibration as well, right? The same thing? Or light later, or is it different?
No, I think that's
Yeah, it's
only
your
for the
default
color.
profile on import.
So when do you check
Where?
when you are importing images to Lightroom? There is a setting there.
If you go to Lightroom edit preferences, that's where you change it so that it always happens.
Because the rows drive me crazy. Then sometimes I just go back to JPEG and start editing from there. Because
Yeah. So I couldn't make it as good as it comes out of the camera. So
Maybe presets.
yeah, don't go fast.
Presets?
Yeah.
Try presets.
Wait,
Click that one. Yeah, click the default camera settings. That's the one. And that made my life a lot better.
This is about to change my life. Oh my god.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, Rudy's camera just got an upgrade.
Seriously. Oh my gosh.
Use the camera settings, yeah.
Set preset.
Yeah, it was adding like, oh my gosh, so much contrast.
Yeah, you want to go back to, hey, what you just had was good.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Yeah. And then I changed
Yes,
it to all
I
the
know what
Adobe
you mean.
profiles and
Yeah.
it wouldn't go back.
Wonder why Adobe does that.
Yeah.
Well, they don't know how Nikon processes.
Making it worse.
They do it because then you
Canon
use their
processes.
software more to fix it.
To fix it. They make it trash
Your
and then you
picture,
have to
so you have to
learn.
use their software.
Yeah.
Or Sony. I didn't mean to miss out Sony.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Huh.
That's great to know.
Gotta look into that more, understand it a bit more.
Huh.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask Emily and Ash to come up, but yeah, I think we spent a good amount of time on that. So
Yeah.
cool. Any feedback?
Thank you so much.
I think it's interesting how different our like people do things, because how you add the vignette, I invert the radial mask and I bump up the brightness on the edges of the photo because I hate the vignette on my photos.
Do you ever do the reverse vignette on the vignette slider? You can brighten the edges.
No, I haven't.
If you do it too much, it'll just make it like white and fuzzy.
Yeah.
But a little
but
bit.
if you check that lens correction, that will remove the original vignette.
Yeah, I do lens correction and then
There you go.
wait.
Now we're talking.
Do do like 10? How does
Going back to the 70s then.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't really control.
Very well with the dark.
Not my look.
Dark stuff on.
Yeah, but I'm always shooting in my studio, which is always like super bright. Yeah.
Point. Rounds. Oh.
Yeah, maybe the
feather.
Yeah, I mean it's an easy
there you
sync,
go.
so it doesn't
100%
like,
feather.
There's one new thing they added after they introduced all the smart object for the masking. They added the ability to duplicate and invert a mask. So if you did your radial mask and you had the dark outside, you could duplicate and invert. So now you got the opposite of that. So you could adjust the inner part of the vignette or the opposite of whatever mask you had. So if you've got a subject, you duplicate and invert. Now you got the background, etc.
I didn't know you could do that either.
Wait, does it do it automatically?
Well, it used to be multiple steps that you had to do the same thing and then you had to invert it.
Well, you can click on it and do a duplicate of them.
Yeah, and it can be an inverted duplicate. It's the new
Invert.
duplicate and invert mask.
Oh, duplicate and invert.
Oh, it's one.
It's right there.
Work on the background.
So now we
instead of the image.
have two
the
masks.
inverse will likely take care of the background instead of the
Look
image.
at that.
You will have exactly the same
Magic.
outline, the image and the background. So
Well, the nice thing though about the radial is it gives you a vignette, but you now can do it off center. So if your subject is in a rule of thirds corner or something.
Yeah.
Wow. Print it.
flowing in a psychedelic.
Cool.
well, thank you. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, nice.
Do you guys
there's
do
a-
Christmas mini sessions with your dog? Is that what we're looking at?
Well, can you borrow a dog?
I
We
need
should
to
say
stop.
dogs are welcome, then people bring their dogs in.
Great. I've been trying to get more dog photos and nobody.
I know, I like dog photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
I need to
Yeah,
leave it with
okay.
Roberto, so I'll
Wait, as you're leaving, you should say your name because I missed that part.
Roberto.
Well, I've met you before. Hi, Roberto.
Remember?
Yes. No, I've met you before. I met Ferb.
Okay, yeah.
I'm John. That's
It's if you see me in the Facebook, it's Nueva Photo. I mean, I don't have my name. I don't use my name anywhere.
Why not?
Just Nueva Photo. The Facebook actually knows. You might see my face is Nueva Photo. It's a new photo in Spanish.
Yeah, makes sense.
So if you can see that, that's
Got it. Your name's not Nuevo. Got it.
Photographer. Photographer doesn't like his photos.
exactly. Okay.
Thank you. No, thanks for your input. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, thank you. Cool. Yes. Wait. It's yeah. There's. I always get lost in it. I know there's subject under select. That's not bad. Object. Focus area? What's that? Where? I only got subject, which is people. Oh, object selection. Can I do that?
Also hover.
Let's see. Let's try the wreath. Let's see how smart. Let's see how smart. Not bad. Not bad. Cool. Oh shoot! I didn't. Oh, you guys, what you're saying? It. I can just kind of hover over it. What? Oh, it did it. And then let's put an adjustment layer on it, and let's go. Oh yeah. Ooh.
What's the best?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Boom.
People do that.
I started playing around with the. Let me delete this layer. Oh, oh yeah. So there's food and snacks that people have brought in. So feel free to grab whatever. I have water as well. It's in here. You guys want me to grab it?
It's not a chug and pass.
Yeah, and there's like a. They do have sky replacement in Photoshop now too. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. Do I have an image of a sky? I don't know if I do.
They have skies.
Yeah, I meant like an image with to replace.
I think soon they're gonna be like, okay, this is your face picture, and now you can have whatever picture.
Wait, isn't there sky replace in here or no? No.
Who were like, oh, I use AI like my brand photos. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, they're not good, but
I mean, if you look at what it is coming.
Did you
It's
say
getting
something
better.
like, well, that's okay if you want something that is, you know, all right?
I mean, and like, if you don't want to get pampered, then by all means, go just. But
Spend a whole day with you.
spend a whole day with me.
And feel great. Yeah.
Exactly. Feel super great and have a good time. Where are you?
Photoshop? Talking about this? Yeah. Was it file? Am I tripping? Edit. Yeah, or upload your own.
Or you can supply your.
What is happening? Wow.
So from here, shift edge. Yeah, you can play around these settings and.
Not in Photoshop.
I think your photo is greatly improved.
I use a 360 camera that it's only everything from the iPhone. It just replaces the whole stuff.
So I'm gonna reduce the opacity here a bit, just so. The lighting's off.
Actually, meet everybody
Yeah,
in the
nice
shop.
meeting you. Paul, right?
Paul.
Nice
But not very technical. So should I
Yeah, we'll contact you. Yeah.
All the chairs are here. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So I'm a chair. Emily, Ed, Lisa, Ash. Good one. Good one. Nice. All right. See ya.
This is so great to have a local group.
I'm gonna go too. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See ya. Did anyone else join the stream or no? It's just you and then Tien for a while. I mean, so the stream.
This really solves our question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was really last minute as well.
But nobody said that we can't access.
I did, but I didn't make it.
I literally decided to do this last night.